So many years ago, the poet Rumi wrote, I, you, he, she, we, in the garden of mystic lovers, these are not true distinctions. He was telling us we are all one. We may appear separate, but we are all connected. Separation is just an illusion. We're here to love one another, to comfort one another, to care for one another. I think it's what Jesus meant when he said the second great commandment is to love your neighbor as you love yourself. So I want to share with you a Hasidic tale. A rabbi was teaching a class, and he said to his class, tell me, how can you tell when night is over and day begins? And so one of the students raised his hand, and he said, when off in the distance, you can tell the difference between a dog and a wolf. And the rabbi said, no. And another student raised his hand, and he said, when you can tell what fruit is hanging from a tree. And the rabbi said, no. And the third student, kind of frustrated, said, well, you tell us already. And the rabbi said, when you can look into the face of any man and woman and see a brother or a sister, because if you can't, it's still night. So I want to give you some good news and bad news. The bad news is none of us are going to live a challenge-free life. The good news is every one of us is more than anything that can ever happen to us. We can make the choice to let a challenge defeat us or to bring forth the strength that's within each and every one of us. We can choose victimhood or we can choose victory. Mary Tyler Moore, who suffered a lot in her life, once wrote, you can't be brave if the only thing that happens to you is wonderful. You know, if we're to move beyond where our nation is today, we need to step forward in the belief that we're all together. There's only one of us here. There's no us and there's no them. We need to move beyond labels and epithets and engage one another on a heart level. Einstein once said that we can't solve a problem on the level that it was created. So we need to move to a higher level. We can begin to move forward when we realize all lives matter. And where we treat everybody with dignity and respect. And when we listen to one another with compassion and with caring. Years ago, Mother Teresa said, what we are accomplishing is a drop in the bucket. But if this drop were not in the ocean, it would be missed. It's time for acts of kindness, no matter how small, because any act of kindness left undone leaves the world a little poorer, and so is the one who misses the opportunity. This is our time to shape the future of our country for decades. Our choice is business as usual or to forge a new path that includes everyone so that the scenes that played on our TV this week are history, not current events. So I want to close with something. I don't know who wrote it, but it's titled, Underneath, We're All the Same. He prayed. It wasn't my religion. He ate. It wasn't what I eat. He spoke. It wasn't my language. He dressed. It isn't what I wear. He took my hand. It wasn't the color of my hand, but when he laughed, it was how I laugh. And when he cried, it was how I cried. God bless you.